Welcome to the channel. My name is James Delco, and this is the story of how I recorded my song Lily. So Lily was a very fun and rewarding experience. It was the first time that I put out something that I was truly proud of. This video is specifically for musicians and other sound engineers and music producers. The reason being is that this was very much a hybrid approach to recording and very much a modern way of recording. So I wrote this song and I had been playing it out for about a year before I decided to record it. It was definitely inspired by the likes of the Beatles, the Byrds, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Jeff Lynne, ELO. When it was time to record, I knew it was going to need live drums and a lot of guitar. The problem was, and you'll know this if you watched my previous video journal, was that I had spent a lot of money on my previous song, Wait on Her, and I didn't have the budget to see another project, at least at the scale of that one. So I got creative, and what I landed on was doing some remote recording with my friends. The reason for that was that at the time, I didn't know any other drummers in the area who could record themselves and who were, interested in doing this kind of project. So what I did was I reached out to my friend Aiden Harris, who is a drummer, and at the time he was living in Charleston, South Carolina. So we got to it. I made a demo at home to a click track in Logic, and he used that to kind of tailor his approach and have something to play to. And once he got some tones that he was happy with, he sent it to me, a couple takes of him playing for me to approve both his approach and his sound. And I was very happy with it. I was impressed by the sound that he got in the corner of his living room in Charleston. Overall, it was about 5 takes that we used. Really, it was 1 or 2 takes that we built the whole performance out of, and then I picked some fills from takes 3 through 5. I deleted all the tracks that I had recorded for the demo, and I started from scratch, built around this performance that Aiden gave us. So I played the bass, I played the guitars. Again, for the musicians or producers in the audience, you'll hear that there's a lot of acoustic guitar on this track, and what it is that it's double-tracked acoustic guitars panned left and right, and then Nashville-tuned acoustic guitars also panned left and right. So there's 4 acoustic guitar performances happening at once. If I'm remembering correctly, the mics that I used to capture those acoustic guitars were Audio-Technica Pro 37s. They're small diaphragm condenser mics, and they worked really well for the sound that I was going for. I used an Eastman Dreadnought style acoustic guitar, and I also used a Taylor acoustic guitar. I used a 322E, so that's the acoustic sound. I used the Taylor for the main sound, and I used the Eastman for the Nashville tuned acoustic guitar sound. I recorded mainly in Pro Tools, and I also mixed it on Pro Tools as well. For the bass, I used a Mexican Fender P bass from 2004. It has flat wounds again, trying to get that Beatles-like bass tone. I used both DI for the bass sound, and I also used the Plug-in Alliance Ampeg B15 amp simulator, and I was really pleased with the sound we got. For the electric guitar sound, I used a PRS Silver Sky, and then I used a Fender Mexican Strat for the Nashville-tuned electric guitar sound. There aren't any real amps that you hear on this record. They're all amp emulators. At the time, I was using, I think some like PRS licensed amp emulators because I didn't have the Universal Audio amp emulators that I do now. So that's what you're hearing on the record. For keys, that's my friend and bandmate Chris Harris playing. He's also Aiden's brother, so we had a bit of a familial connection on this track, and he did a great job. He played organ and he played piano, and I think it's him playing the glockenspiel that you can hear on the main riff. All the keyboards, all the other sounds were MIDI based except for tambourine and percussion. I think I was the one who ended up playing that. Finally, for vocals, I had a Audio-Technica AT2020 at the time. That's the main vocal sound. I did it in Pro Tools. I used a lot of Universal Audio and a lot of Waves plugins, and that's how we got the sound that we did. I also forgot to mention that Aiden played his Ludwig kit, and that really got us in the ballpark of the Beatles kind of sound that we were going for. I also mastered this track, and for it being the first time that I kind of made a project top to bottom. It was very DIY. I didn't really tell anybody that we were doing it. It was just kind of the three of us working on it to see what we could pull off. And I listened to it for the first time in a year at the end of December 2025, and I was really pleased with what I heard for the most part, and I was just very proud of the accomplishment. We spent no money making this, and it was just very, very rewarding that it was still something that I was happy to listen to a year and a half later. So hopefully you learned something from this video. This process taught me that if you want to get something done, you find a way. And sure, would this have sounded better if we did it in a studio? Yeah, quote unquote better, right? Take that with a grain of salt. But it was all about what we learned on the way and what it takes to make a production. So thanks for watching this channel, and go listen to Lily. Again, if you like the Byrds, the Beatles, Tom Petty, any sort of jangle rock tune, give it a listen. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so I can make the next song even sooner, and give the video a like, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.